Aloha and welcome back to Transfer Talk. As you know, my name is Travis, and today we have a very special episode in store for you. We're going to continue with the theme of getting involved as a distance education student, and our guest for today is the perfect person to talk to. I'm sitting down, talking story, and brainstorming with Rouel Velasco. Rouel is the Director of Student Life at West Oahu, and I'm sure he has some amazing insights and ideas for all of the listeners here on Kauai, on Maui, and all around the world. Before we jump into the questions, I really just want to say thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Rouel. It's great to have you here, and it's great to catch up with you. I think the last time I saw you was actually at commencement back in December. So it's been a while, but it's great to see you. And yeah, how are you? How is your summer going?
Awesome. Thank you so much, Travis, for having me on and actually inviting me to be on this podcast with you. So aloha mai kauko to all of our transfer students, DE students, Kauai, Maui, Hawaii Island, and all of you who are listening in. We're so honored to actually have you as our students at West Oahu. And so summer is a different type of beat, another type of rhythm. I would say it's a much more quieter rhythm rather than the school year of the fall and spring when classes are in session. Well, there's summer classes in session, but a lot more physical presence on the campus in and of itself in terms of capturing and making the use of my time in terms of working with students who are coming by, visiting, emailing, and so on. So summer is a different type of rhythm we're having to actually prepare for trainings that is coming up for our student leaders, for the student leaders who are involved. And I'll go more into the types of organizations that we have in our later conversation. But great to be here. Thank you, Travis. Grateful for this opportunity.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And yeah, absolutely. Incredibly grateful for all the amazing students throughout the islands and around the world. And yeah, summer is a great time to prep for the upcoming fall semesters. I 100% agree. All great stuff, Roel. So is it okay if we jump into the first question?
Yes, absolutely. Go for it.
Cool. All right. Can you share with us a bit about your role as the director of student life? In one sense, what does a day in the life look like for you? But also, what is the kind of overarching mission or goal?
So when we think about student life, it is about how do we engage students in and out of the classroom experience. So meaning beyond for academic walls and for our online learners, beyond the clicking of the Zoom or any type of online engagement, if it be just your learning portal and or whichever platform your instructor professor is being used. So how do we engage our students? And there's a number of things for me when I think about that. That's one on helping students to, in engagement. When I think about that, I think about helping students to find home with West Oahu. That may be with your courses, that may be with programs, that we may be with certain offices, that may be with personnel, staff members at the university or your professors. And for us, it's the out of the classroom experience. So it is through our clubs, our organizations. And actually, if folks didn't know, just because one student is a DE student doesn't mean they cannot join. Technically, all of our organizations should be able to allow for DE students to join any one of them. So just want to put that out just in case for folks are thinking like, what about these clubs? And is it not for me? Some groups might be slow to engaging DE students, but there's some groups who may be like, oh yes, I think a lot of our business related student orgs are conscious about our DE students. That's one of our bigger programs here. So the other hat when I think about finding home is, just getting that student to feel connected with other peers, other like-minded students. It may be for social reasons, it may be networking, professional development reasons in building up themselves. The other side of that when I think about student life is helping students to actually make a difference for their peers by serving in a leadership role within any organization, having to be responsible for thinking about engagement, for active membership, to helping students make the most of their college experience. So we want to thank you folks, those student leaders who actually jump onto the leadership part of any type of organization to say, here are my ideas or here are my concerns, and this is ways that we can find to engage a little bit more students. An additional one more person, additional 10 more people can go a long way. So working with, and I think about in that way when I help students help make a difference, it makes me think about the late politician making good trouble, all about making good trouble, because I think for our sense, it's there's so many people as we are continuing as an institution to provide an experience, an educational experience, there might be opportunities where we may be missing the mark. And so part of this is that we need our students to let us know or to be part of the driving force to be like, what's not going well for you? And sometimes it's using the student organizations as a way to addressing that. One of them primarily that has a purpose in actually stirring good trouble is the student government, ASUHWO, which I currently advise. Their role is to really advocate on behalf of the student experience academically and anything outside of that, to the processes of entering or staying in or even actually exiting from the university. Student government have that opportunity to engage in conversation with administrators, senior management here at the university, and potentially within the UH system as well. So, first and foremost, there is that body in terms of representation for all students and DE students.
Gotcha. Very cool. So I think one of the key things that I took away that from what you just said was finding home, right? Looking for and creating those moments of meaningful exchange, right? Because it's not just about the academics. The
Mhm.
college experience really is holistic in every sense. So finding home, I think that's incredibly beautifully said, right? And then also the leadership roles is something that I find really interesting as well, between taking on almost like a self advocacy or group advocacy role in these clubs and organizations, and then also identifying those issues and working towards fixing those issues not only helps the current generation of students, but it can have a lasting impact as well, right? So, really amazing stuff. We're talking about life changing opportunities that are available to students through these organizations and through these clubs, right? And speaking of leadership, are you also involved in the National Society of Leadership and Success? Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yes, yes. National Society Leadership and Success. We have a chapter at the university. And so this honor society is unlike any other honor society. So I've been part of one other one. Many honor societies really recognize for those students who perform academically well in their courses. There are some that is across disciplines, and there's some that are specific towards certain disciplines, certain majors. And so, for what makes this honor society very different is actually focused on leadership development. What is exciting and the reason why we jump onto this honor society is because they have experiences of which any student, regardless of modality, can be a part of. So they have, this honor society focuses on, again, leadership development, helping leaders to make a difference. So for this honor society, you pay into the membership. I think currently the membership fee is $95. And I believe the GPA cutoff for us, I think we do a 3.0 from sophomore standing and up. So sophomore, junior, senior standing. The honor society has major requirements to complete. So it's the major requirements focuses actually on the leadership development component. So which mean like, wait, so there's requirements? Yes, because we want students to develop some leadership insight from folks. So they have this, I would term it like modules, online modules to be a part of. So their orientation that briefs us up about what this experience is with NSLS. There's a leadership training day that focuses on our own goal setting and helping us to get ready for that leadership experience with NSLS. And then there's three speaker broadcast requirements. And what this means is listening might be to a live speaker or to a recording that you can watch on your own time, to an industry leader, could be a celebrity, could be a community leader, a well known community leader that offers their tips and insights about leadership. Attending three of that on your own. And then lastly is being a part of a success networking team. And this is a relatively new concept. Part of the success networking team is actually helping students to think about being accountability partners to one another. If you say you're going to do a thing and you're going to share it, it's a way to uplift one another and be like, okay, Travis, here's my goal and here's my steps towards these goals. And I should be working on them. 1 week later or 2 weeks later, we update each other on our goals, on the progress of that. And part of that is to have that accountability, to also be that listening ear and ways that maybe we need to modify that goal if that goal is actually realizing that it's too big to reach and we're not making any steps. And so the importance of this is realizing that leaders do not work in isolation. Leaders can have a community, leaders can have a village, leaders can need each other to work towards making progress to their own goals. And so this might be in a sense of and realizing, oh yeah, we have a strong support family system. Some of us may have that strong family, some of us may not. Some of us, we might be the caregiver, we may be the only ones that have to provide for our family, but we don't have that networking because, or that community. And so you can find that community in the success networking teams. So it's an opportunity for folks to develop that leadership capacity through this unique way of learning about it. It can be a lot. We do recognize it's a lot. But there may be opportunities if the $95 may be a lot. I do recognize because we've brought that concern up to the leadership.
Mhm.
If there is any challenges for folks, please reach out. There's ways that we can try to address it and see if there's ways that we can make it happen
Yeah.
for the students.
It sounds really amazing. We're talking multiple modalities, so if you're on Kauai or Maui or somewhere else,
Mhm.
you can participate, right? And then you're also gaining. It sounds like you're gaining some really incredible skills that will benefit you not only in school but throughout the rest of your life in all areas, right? So definitely, like if you meet those eligibility criteria, it sounds like a really truly amazing opportunity, and I would highly recommend all students to check it out. And are there people that potential candidates, I guess you could say, could reach out to talk story about that in more depth? Or
Totally. I mean, feel free to reach out. I mean, on my email, Roel, Rouel at Hawaii.edu. Again, it's across all majors. And we're looking at for those students who've already, I gotta take a look. I believe it's just the credits have to be a total of 30 credits. So if those credits are accepted into UH West Oahu, and if you're taking it, so we're not looking at like I think overall earned credits at UH West Oahu, and we know that a number of DE transfer students come into the university with X amount of
mhm.
credits, right? So
Yeah.
and it varies on person to person, and so it will be tricky if for some students who are already may have the 30 credits upon coming in, but not yet complete a semester
Hmm.
at Westwell. We may have to see the completion of the semesters to see how those grades
Yeah.
had worked out at Westwell. Just knowing that for all students who transfers in or starts with us, all of these students start clean fresh with
Hmm.
a 4.0. You already got a 4.0, folks. All we got to do is just maintain that 4.0 when you first get started, because when you come into university, we don't see any of your back GPA, right? We just get your grades credits, get your credits, and we start fresh with all 4.0.
Yeah. Great stuff. I love it. I love it. So yeah. So I just want to emphasize there. So we're talking about UH West Oahu institutional credits. So the credits that you earn at UH West Oahu are what define your eligibility for the Honor Society. Is that correct?
Correct.
Awesome. Cool. All right. Thank you, Roel. All right. I guess the next question I have for you is, could you explain the difference between chartered student organizations, aka CSOs, and registered independent student organizations, or RISOs?
Okay, great. Yes. You know, as being college students, you will realize we throw a lot of acronyms at you folks, left and right. Our CSOs, RISOs, we call it RISOs or RISOs. And so these are just to add to your vocabulary of acronyms to learn. So, charter student organizations, two ways to kind of think about it. Chartered student organizations serves the entire student body
Okay.
based on the collection of mandatory student fees. That
Okay.
can get complicated, okay, a little bit. So their charge is one to all UH West Oahu who pay the mandatory fees, and I can break that down for you mentally in my head as I remember the fees in my head. And I'll push forward to the RISOs, Registered Independent Student Organization. These are clubs, organizations that meet a specific interest. It ranges from academic, professional, ethnic, cultural, service, social, recreational, religious affiliated, leisure type, can be political as well organizations. And the one thing that makes this unique is the independent. It is supported by the University Board of Regents policy that these groups can exist as independent. What makes it unique and very different from the charter student organization is students have these organizations have a right to exist and express their concerns however you want to express your concerns, and you get into your own affairs of what you want to be a part of. So because there is that clause or that independent piece, I have our student groups resource think about resource as your own business or your own nonprofit that you take care.
Mm.
When it comes independent, that means as students in that organization and with your advisor, you folks are running the show and you having to think about the liability, the risk management, just the overall welfare of the organization because it's those individuals, the leadership, are fully responsible, right? So independence comes with a lot of responsibility.
Mhm.
And so there is about 14, 15 resos that was registered this past year. And so each group will have to renew every September because we know that students either step down, students graduate, or just lifing in general, that students have to step down and partake in other responsibilities. But going back to the chartered student organizations, we have four chartered student organizations. I mentioned one of them earlier, which is ASUHWO, the Undergraduate Student Government, UH West Oahu. So there are ASUHWO Campus Center Board, Student Activity Fee Board, and the Student Media Board. Of these fees, all students pay for, even DE students pay for ASUH, Student Activity Fee Board, and the Student Media Board. If you want to go and check, it'll be listed as student government fees on your account.
Mhm.
For the media board, it'll be listed as student publications, and student activity fee will be listed as student activity fee. And actually, just to let folks know, the student activity fee is the newest fee to include all DE students. In the years past, DE students did not pay that particular fee when regards to the CSOs. So the campus center board is the only fee that DE students do not pay for. This is only for in-person and hybrid students. And then on the topic of fees in general, I also want to talk about the other fees that is out there that are not connected to the CSOs, charter student organizations, but there's the health, technology, and the transportation. And just letting you folks know that I believe the health and technology is being charged. And so this can come in the form of how students might be seeing it. Well, like, okay, why DE students are paying for it. So technology, being able to access the resources with our IT
Mhm.
and a number of offerings there, as well as for health, being increasing service that we see being offered is the mental health piece,
Yeah.
which is available through Dr. Taketa and his team. So I just wanted to be clear about just all of these student fees that we have in general. And just to share with you, we've had in the past funding groups that also benefit student groups. RISOs actually approach our student activity fee board.
Mhm.
Student activity fee board, just to go a little bit much more further, they have two charges. Their charge is to one, create a vibrant campus community. And so one, that means supporting in-person events, but also they provide funding to student groups or departments. And these departments actually also hold things that is open to DE students. So one of the groups that actually have benefited and opened their events to DE students is No AL Center. Hopefully folks are utilizing that service because they do a great job in engaging and capturing students. So hopefully folks have noted that resource, No AL Tutoring Center, but just knowing that there will be more increased opportunities now for engagement with the student activity. So they know that they will be increasing their efforts to engage DE students even more. That means students DE, this means how can we click the button to join things, right? That's what makes it a bit more difficult is knowing that you are lifing, doing things, learning with your kuleana responsibility obligations. How can we get you to just click that button to join certain things? And then they know that they are looking at creating synchronous and asynchronous opportunities. So things that folks can do on their own times, so that folks can still be part of the student experience at West Oahu.
Awesome. That's great. Yeah, thank you for that clarification on the two different types of organizations. And yeah, absolutely. No Center. We had Wendy on the podcast the other week. So yeah, great stuff. Absolutely utilize the No Center. And yeah, so far we've hit on the No Center. You mentioned business has a lot of organizations that DE students can join. Are there other ways that DE students can get involved? Are there like specific roles within say student government that a DE student can fill? Is there like particular events that have a hybrid element that come to mind? Anything like that?
So with student government, technically all positions in student government is open to all students, regardless of modality,
Cool.
even the president. But we make it known, so hopefully folks are reading it when we put out the call, technically all students, because a lot of our meetings are now online. So just to accommodate wherever folks may be, our meetings are entirely are online. And so we've had in the past, just hopefully it can be encouraging to folks. We've had VP, secretary, and treasurer in different years be from a different island, from Kauai actually. When I think about Kulanui, she was one. Suji Johnson is another. They serve in the exec leadership positions for student government. But in addition to that, because before they got on, they also created specific island DE positions to let folks know that if you wanted to just serve your island DE, you could do so. So we have Kauai DE, Maui DE, and Hawaii Island DE. So Maui includes the Maui County. So of
Mhm.
course, Maui, Lanai, and Molokai as well to kind of represent that area. So for student government, yes, it's all positions, but we also created positions specifically for that. This past year, we had a core EDE, Jessica Paredes. She was able to hold two events, I think, a kickoff and a end of semester piece while holding office hours there. So one of the things that we want to make sure that for DE students, so one of the things that she worked with Anuhea is to reserve a space in the university center for students to drop in for Kauai students. So we're hoping for our Maui folks, for Hawaii Island folks, we'd love to see if any of you who want to step up to the plate to serve your peers on your island. But Jessica did step down, so we're probably looking for another person to fill that position when the fall semester hits. So we did have general elections take place, but because we have vacant positions, we will have special elections in the fall semester. So when the first day of class hits, or hopefully the first couple of days before class hits, we will probably student government will send a email message to all students about the opportunities to run for special elections to fill the vacant position. So as right now, all the DE positions are available for Kauai, Maui, and Hawaii Island. And then for those DE students who are majoring in, like, on the top of my head, we don't have anyone for education. I don't think we have anyone for business. I'm not too sure if we have anyone for public admin. those are seats that needs to be filled. And so if any of our DE students majoring in business, public admin, I think social sciences, consider yourself, but an updated list will be sent out in near the first week of school.
Very cool. So yeah, absolutely. To all the listeners out there, keep your eyes open for those emails and that correspondence, because that would be an absolutely incredible opportunity to really serve your community, right? And to make a positive
Mhm.
impact.
Travis, I did have one more thing I forgot to
Yeah.
mention with the Student Media Board. Student Media Board is the governing board for the publication. So under the publications, there is the Hoot, the student newspaper. And so we'd love to see if there are any writers or people who would like to just voice out their concerns or just voice out their experiences as DE students, because I think that's one market that we are not addressing is the DE experience. So we'd love to see if there are any DE students who are interested in being a part of the Hoot. Come forward. This coming year, they're looking to focus on training and building up the team. So there won't be any issues this year because they're looking at just really doing recruitment
Mhm.
and training for the whole year. So if there's folks who are interested in writing, and so part of it is that they're hoping not to have everyone write all the time, but if there's an article or an insightful piece that
Mhm.
DE students can talk about what it means to be a DE student, or there's topics or of concern that is from your lens that needs to be shared, we welcome that.
During my time at West Oahu, I love reading the Hoot. I look forward to every new issue of it. So yeah, I think that would be a really special opportunity for some students to contribute some writing to that. And yeah, that's amazing, Roel. I really love that. The registered independent student organizations, right? Could theoretically a group of Kauai students or Maui students come together and form their own RISO? Would that be viable? Would that be supported by student life? What would that look like?
Yes, absolutely. Actually, when Daniel Saratsky was the ACHDE for Kauai, he started a group. When Sharmila Siason from Maui was the DE student leader for student government, she did one in Maui. So there are ways, yes, we would encourage DE students to form a group, a club or a RISO. And it takes just about 6 students, currently UH West Oahu students. So if there's 6 students, yes, you can totally come up with a student organization, and finding a university staff member, UH West Oahu staff member to serve as an advisor. Unfortunately, I cannot serve in that capacity, but we can help to find, if you folks are unable to find an advisor who are employed at UH West Oahu, we can work with you folks. But oftentimes I encourage the students to find a staff member, either if it be their instructor, to serve in that capacity, because we have Anu here there in Ko'i. Hopefully she gracefully agrees. I apologize, Anu here, putting you on the spot, but knowing that physical presence there, and we've come to appreciate and love Anu Hill for the work that she's doing, and being
Absolutely.
that point person there on Kauai Island. And I'm not too sure. We used to have long, long ago someone who was just like Anuhea at Maui and Hawaii, but I'm not too sure if that is the same situation set up. So there might be challenges for Maui and Hawaii Island, but we definitely want to talk with you folks if you want to start up that organization. So there's an online form to complete. 6 students, a UHSO staff member to serve as an advisor, so there can be a staff or instructor. And then part of the form is to complete a constitution and bylaws. So we have a template. It doesn't have to be very formalized and structured, but we have templates for folks to kind of be able to develop their constitution and bylaw. So it's very viable. It'll be working with me once you submit your online registration application. You'd meet with me to go over the orientation, and then in that orientation, offering some insightful pieces for you to think about and how to go about your work within your engagement for engaging your members.
It's really great. I think that's my call to action for today. If you're a DE student on any of the islands and you want to form a group of friends, form a RSIO, I think that would be something really special. All right, Roel. So I think the final two questions I have for you are firstly, if you could summarize in like an elevator pitch style, right? Why getting involved with student life is especially important for transfer and distance education students. What would you say?
We know that students come to us in many different ways and many different needs. You may be that student that wants to find connection, realizing that you might be studying all by yourself. There is that opportunity to join a club for to making friends. We also know that there are students who are helping to who wants to build up that professional skills, networking skills to join a club to build that up as well. Right? We also need a club for just like-minded folks, realizing that we may have DE students who are parents and caregivers. There might be another opportunity to create an organization just for folks. Folks, the opportunity is here for you to actually drive, to lead, and to drive things. One, for your engagement, to make the most of your college experience. We've had college students, DE students, and adult learners share with me, and actually sometimes our staff members get it wrong all the time, that DE adult students do not want to get involved. At the end of the day, we are all seeking some type of connection. If it be connection for a friend, if it be a connection to develop our own personal skills and networking skills, or just to be around like-minded people. At the end of the day, this is an opportunity to build your connection. And lastly, to find home with other people.
I love that. Came full circle there. I love it. Awesome, Roel. And then my last question is, what would you say is your best piece of advice for a DE or transfer student who's looking to find where they belong? Where do they start, you know?
One of the things that we got to really work on is what it will be really helpful is our website. So I apologize. There is some things that is, we got to go through hoops to kind of update those things. So I smile knowing that that has to be updated. So we're working on a number of things. So working to update the website, but a lot of the CSOs are updated in terms of just their contact information. The RISOs I may have to be updated with. So if you want to reach out to me, I can send you an updated list of the RISOs. And again, if there's a student group that doesn't interest you, because there's about 14, 15 RISOs at the moment, if the group there is in a group that doesn't interest you, you can really start your own with 5 other students, including yourself. Another way to kind of stay up to date, and I know just thinking about technology, not everyone have technology. One of the things that we have going for us is Instagram. So if folks have Instagram, follow us. We have UHWO Student Life. Follow that. Follow ACUHWO on Instagram. Follow SAFBWO. That's the student activity fee board, so you can be up to date with the different events. So those are the 3 that I'm going to be really pushing forward, because they can find ways to engage folks even much more. And if there is an email that says, hey, because our CSOs put together, just a plug-in, put together for the last couple of semesters Pueos, and it's an in-person event, but they also want to make sure that DE students are a part of the experience. So they've included a DE scavenger hunt for Pueos, and I'm hoping that for DE students, you just click on that and they give you a time to complete it. Actually, 1 week of a time to complete it. And by completing it, it varies on the semester. One semester we had students get mailed a Pueos, a limited edition of that shirt for that semester. And then if the folks who answered the questions correctly, or I think it was riddles, the first 3 or whatever winners, they were able to get some prizes. So I think the same will be happening again every semester. Look forward to Pueos and even more. The goal is to engage more DE students in many different ways. Let us know, or look forward to that email. But DE students, please let us know. I'm not a DE student, so there's things that I am missing the mark on. And so if there are certain ways to engage you folks, do let us know. If there's a recommended strategy to reach out to us, that might be an opportunity. Because of that, we may, if there is an opportunity, I'm probably working with you, Travis, exploring the idea might be an opportunity to, even this is my hopefully my call to action follow up is to create an opportunity to meet with DE students and just talk story and tell us and let us listen to you folks of how might you want to be engaged. What are the different ways to engage you folks? Is it more synchronous? Is it more asynchronous? Is there a different platform that you folks like to utilize? One of the platforms that student government is utilizing at this moment to conduct their office hours is on Discord. And so that's an opportunity for folks to be able to drop in. And if folks have any questions about or concerns, to share that. But we know that Discord, not everyone is in Discord, and Discord can be a lot to navigate,
Yeah.
right? So this we're all open ears to ways to engage DE students because we see an increase of DE students coming to UH So we want to make sure that your DE experience, your West Oahu experience, is one that is memorable as well. We know that experience is a different from in person, but doesn't mean that we can pay attention to that. We want to make sure that you folks continue to feel the love and feel supported as well.
That's great. I love it. And yeah, I think reaching out and just asking and talking story is a great place to start. Like starting to build that pilina, build those connections and those relationships will really help you out in the long run. So I love the fact that student life and these student organizations are receptive to those types of things. That's really great. I love it. Is there anything that we haven't covered? Is there anything that you would like to add on? Are there any questions that I should be asking but I'm not? Anything like that?
When we think about the university experience, just for anyone in general, this is your opportunity to maximize the resources that's made available to you, which means every single person is at your use at the university. It makes it a little bit harder for DE students because we don't get to see you on a regular basis. And so that means there's that required effort on your end, because we're not in your faces. We're not like a walking board in your room or wherever you may do your learning, right? So it takes that additional required effort to send that email and or to look up for that resource or to reach out to us. Um, so I know that that's a lot of kuleana and responsibility. And so, just knowing that it takes that additional step on your end to get activated, to get involved and engage with us, because we want to make sure that you have us and you have that support from us. I'm a lifer. I'm a product of student life, in and of itself, and so I live and breathe this as much as I can, and so really deeply committed to and trying to see, and I appreciate this podcast of its contribution to engaging students and helping DE students navigate the university better. This in of itself is helping students to find home and find connection, find Pelina to the university. So thank you, Travis, because it's these type of outlets and experiences and opportunities that bridges the student experience with the university much tighter. And so I think there's opportunities, and for those who might want to be interested in starting a DE Kauai or a specific island club, because DE students will be paying the student activity fees, you can also submit a proposal for funding.
Nice.
So we were student government this past year with Jessica as the DE Kauai representative, secured funding from student government to provide food and other refreshments at those events. But because now as a DE club, you do have an opportunity to apply for funding for whatever things that student groups have oftentimes provided funding for is oftentimes food. We know that food brings in people, especially for those that may not have lunch, for those that may not have dinner. Hey, come to this thing because there's food. Just come as is. Bring your family. And so that you may have opportunity to apply as a DE club for funding. Other funding items folks have normally asked for besides food is prizes. And there's a whole paper trail with prizes. That's a whole nother conversation. If the items are under 25, that's great because we can give it to you, we can send it to you. If it's over $25, that's another thing. There's paperwork involved, tax documents to be submitted, or a WH1 was what we call it, before we can actually release and or pick up the price. But there's opportunities there. We want to make sure you folks create an experience for your peers.
All great stuff. Absolutely utilize all the resources at your disposal. And I think when it comes to making that initial kind of leap, reaching out for the first time, I will say that it becomes so much easier after you make that first connection. It's really like exponential growth from there. So don't be scared to reach out, make those connections right away. And yeah, Roel, and I also really appreciate the kind words that you said about the podcast. I really hope it does help students, and I really think that all the work that you guys do over in student life is absolutely incredible, and we're lucky to have people like yourself. So thank you, Roel. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Travis. I appreciate you so much, and best wishes, and looking forward to listening to more of your podcasts.
Awesome. All right. Thank you so much, Roel. I really appreciate it. Thank you for once again for coming on the show.
Awesome. Thank you. Take care. Aloha.
Mahalo for listening to Transfer Talk. The views and opinions shared by the hosts and any guests are solely theirs and do not reflect the views and opinions of UH West Oahu or Kauai Community College as an institution. If you enjoyed listening to this episode of the podcast, please like, share, comment, and check out all the other episodes. Aloha.